What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Tuesday, May 6th. My name is Ewan. On today's episode, I'm going to get into a Imola Grand Prix preview with my team selection, very early team selection. As you can tell, no fancy green screen. I am back in the States. I am recording this in my in-laws' house. So, don't say I didn't commit anything or be committed to you guys to get this team selection out. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the channel. As of this recording, I think we are just one short of 3,000 subs. So if you are watching this video and you are not one of those subscribers, give me a little bit of help here and hit that like on the video, hit the subscribe button, and we'll be over 3,000 subscribers before the Imola Grand Prix. I'm sure some of you know that the Miami Grand Prix did not go so well for me. I'm going to get into that at the end of the episode, just because if you're here for team selection, I want to get into that. But timestamps in the description below. We're going to go over some stories that are coming out after Miami and then just kind of get into it, what we are looking ahead to in Imola. All right, so Imola Grand Prix, Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. I asked people on Twitter what they want me to call it. So I went with Imola because I had 83% of the votes. Over 300 people voted. So we'll go with that. 19 corners, 63 laps, 1 DRS zone. Can result in a little bit of a DRS train. As you can see here, 23rd over the last 3 seasons for overtakes out of 24 tracks. However, they didn't have a race in 2023 due to the flooding in the area, but hopefully that has been resolved. Hopefully everything is back on track. 2024 went off without a hitch, and hopefully 2025 does the same thing. 3 DNFs over the last 3 seasons as well, which is really only 2 races, 1.5 average. There was a sprint, I believe, in 2022, and there was maybe 1 or 2 DNFs there. And then in 2024, the podium was Verstappen, Norris, and Leclerc. If you guys remember, there was that epic showdown where Lando was like hunting down Verstappen and was taking a lot of risks, and hopefully we see a little bit more of that kind of Lando Norris moving forward. Pirelli preview here. Last year it was the C3, C4, C5, but now this is the first time we're going to get to see the Pirelli C6 in action on the track. So super interested to see how that goes. Should be softer tires, could be more like pit stop strategies, all that fun stuff as well. And yeah, in general, they haven't come out with their in-depth preview yet because we're still like a week and a half out from any on-track action. But softer compounds should mean a little bit more strategy coming into the pit stops. Maybe like some teams do some different stuff, but we will wait and see how the teams attack that with the C4, the C5, and the C6. Weather forecast, like I said, it's a week out, a week and a half out from the Pirelli preview, or from the Imola Grand Prix right now. Friday, 20 degrees Celsius, 68% or 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 75% chance of rain as of right now in the afternoon. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we get some good running because there are supposed to be some updates coming to the cars in Imola. Saturday is 22 degrees Celsius, partly sunny, not a huge percent chance of rain, I think, so quali should be fine. And then Sunday, partly sunny, 25% chance of rain, but it sounds like that's mostly going to come in the morning, so we shouldn't have anything to worry about for the race. Unlike Miami, where we had a lot to worry about. But yeah, so far so good for the weather. Hopefully Friday gets a little bit more dry so we can get some on-track data from the Imola Grand Prix. Doing bad, feeling worse. It sounds like Jack Doohan is on his way out of Alpine. This has not been confirmed by the team, but the race is reporting it. Autosport is reporting it. ESPN is reporting it as well. We just don't have an official kind of announcement from Alpine that Jack Doohan is getting swapped out for who we are probably all thinking, Franco Colapinto. He is here. I think he's coming back at the time of recording, Tuesday, May 6th. This is when this video is out. He has not been confirmed in Alpine, but I think that's going to be our best guess for who is coming in right now as of this recording. So you just have to bear with me here. And Colapinto is a really interesting prospect for F1 Fantasy because he kind of showed us a little Jackal, a little Hyde last season. The first 5 races, the last 4 races, as you can see on the graphic here, 8.6 points per race over the first 5, but it was -9 in the last 4 where he suffered 3 DNFs, including the Brazilian Grand Prix, the Qatar Grand Prix, and the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So while it started really well for Colapinto and Williams, as you can see here, 12 points, 8 points, 12th, 8th, 11th, 12th and 10th, and then 12th again in the Mexico Grand Prix. He was doing pretty well, and we were all like, oh my goodness, he was the budget rising king. He gained 2.5 million over the first 5 races, and then he fell 0.1 over the last 4. So the star kind of faded on Colapinto, but it'll be like we'll kind of wait and see what happens if he comes into this Alpine seat, which we are projecting 1.52 points per million, and if he comes in at Jack Doohan's price, which is now 4.5 million. Frank Colapinto is going to go straight into my F1 fantasy team. However, if you don't have Jack Doohan right now, and you're like, well, I'm just going to put him in there because then they'll just replace Colapinto with Doohan, that will not happen. So make sure that if you have Jack Doohan, don't make a move. If you do not have Jack Doohan, don't bring him in either, because what happened with Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson was their cards for their original teams, so Liam Lawson for Red Bull and Yuki Tsunoda for Racing Bulls, they were deactivated. They became inactive drivers, and you had to use a transfer to swap them out. They didn't just swap you in Liam Lawson, if you remember this from a few races ago. So it's likely that Jack Doohan is going to become an inactive driver card. Franco Colapinto becomes a new driver card, and you're going to have to use one of your transfers to bring Colapinto in. So just make sure you hold off until any official announcement about whether Doohan is going to survive for one more race or if Colapinto is coming in. I think if Doohan, if all this reporting is way off or whatever, and Doohan does survive to the Imola Grand Prix, I think he would make it the next 3 races as well, because shoving Colapinto in there in the middle of the triple header just feels pretty unfair. Right now, they've got 2 weeks until the Imola Grand Prix, and it gives Colapinto enough time to get suited, do all his media duties and stuff like that. Doing all that stuff in the middle of a triple header just seems a little bit unfair to the Argentine driver. So hopefully, if this happens, it happens now or then after the triple header. And this is the start of a triple header, guys. We got Imola, we got Monaco, we got Spain. So make sure you are tuned in to the YouTube channel. Like I said, subscribe. Just short of 3,000. We can get there before the Imola Grand Prix. I am sure of it. But yeah, Frank Colapinto probably going to come in for Jack Doohan here. And I'm pretty excited about it for F1 Fantasy. But just remember, don't use a transfer to bring Doohan in to replace Colapinto. You think it's going to be an auto swap. That is not going to happen in the game. Going over budget builders for Imola, I'm going to go to the F1 Fantasy Tools website in a little bit here just to kind of show their version of it. But this is kind of it in the game when it comes to drivers. Norris, Piastri, Albon, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Hadjar. These are all kind of the manageable max price rises, even the minimum price rises here, like Stroll, Hulkenberg, Hadjar. Those are options again. It feels like early on in the season again with Albon, Stroll, and Hulkenberg all back or wanting to come back into our F1 fantasy teams. And this is just kind of how the game is going to be played with the way that the budget system, it's up and down, up and down. You're waiting for a DNF to drop off. But now all the B tier drivers have DNFs, or a lot of them have DNFs tagged onto their 3 race rolling average. So it's going to get a little bit difficult here for us to kind of build budget. But Norris and Piastri are safe options if you can fit those guys into your team. That is an option I'm considering. I'll go over that in my team selection and a little bit here, timestamp in the description below if you just want to jump ahead. Albon, 6 points for minimum price rise. That feels manageable. He is driving the tires off of that Williams in a very good way. Kind of asserting himself as the lead driver at Williams, because sounds like from the team radio, he was kind of told to not race Carlos Sainz, and then he did, and then he bagged a P5, so great job by him. 18 points to score max price rise does sound a little difficult, but I mean, if we're talking like Albon's getting P5s, P6s in these races, and if Ferrari keeps struggling like they have been, then that's starting to become a little bit more of an option. But a minimum price rise 0.2 for Albon, Stroll seems manageable. Hulkenberg and Hadjar, it's a little bit more difficult, but if Hulkenberg keeps the car on the track, then seems okay. And then Hadjar as well. 7 points is kind of a lot, especially at a tough overtaking track like Imola. And if you can't get into the top 10 for quali or for the race, that's going to be a little difficult. But that's kind of one of the best options we have here outside of our soon-to-be, what I'm thinking, Alpine driver in Frank Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto, because they will be bottom of the barrel, 4.5 million. It's just a safety thing. Like, we're not going to be gaining a lot of budget over the next 2 or 3 races until these prices or these DNFs that a lot of people suffered in Miami drop off of the 3 race rolling average. So getting bottom of the barrel, the 4.5 guys, like, all they can do is go up. Like, Bortoleto was looking pretty good in Miami for a minimum price rise, but power unit failure. So yeah, pretty tough for him, which is unfortunate because I went down there in my team for Miami. And yeah, Jack Doohan is now down there, slash whoever it's going to be at Alpine to replace him, 4.5 million. So those guys are safe. They're not going to lose you budget. Hopefully they can just like trundle around to the back of the pack, pick up a couple of points here and there. Maybe they'll never get you a price rise. But for now, while a lot of teams are losing budget, they may be scoring more points than you, but in the long term, I still think getting to these bottom of the barrel assets is going to help you out tremendously in F1 Fantasy over the course of this triple header, because you won't be losing budget. You may not be scoring as many points, but budget is still the aim of the game here, guys. I know we're a quarter of the way into the season, but I'm still prioritizing budget for F1 Fantasy, especially what happened in Miami. That was a little bit of a cluster. We just have to survive these next 2 or 3 races until the B tier drivers kind of settle again and kind of the prices all like filter out and stabilize a little bit so we can pick and choose the correct budget risers heading into Spain, Canada, all that sort of stuff. So here is the F1 Fantasy Tools budget builder page. As you can see here, very similar to the information that I had on the previous page. And yeah, it's going to get tough out here for budget building. As you can see here, the A tier assets, like Russell needs 34, like max price rises at Imola for these guys outside of like winning the race or drive of the day. It feels really tough for Russell, Hamilton, Antonelli, Verstappen, or Leclerc. I mean, Leclerc had a DNF in the sprint, which was unfortunate, and he's probably going to fall a little bit. We're going to be looking, at the end of the triple header, Leclerc is going to be cheaper than possibly Hamilton, but definitely Piastri. Piastri is only 0.3 million behind him now. And yeah, it could get a little dicey here, but Leclerc is going to fall enough that people are going to start getting a little bit interested in him when that DNF falls off of his score, because that'll be an opportunity to maybe fit in 2 A-tier drivers, 2 A-tier constructors into our team for the first time this season, outside of Antonelli, who has been like 3 or 4 or 5 million cheaper than a lot of the A-tier drivers as well. But the main aim of the game here is the budget building down in the B-tier. Stroll, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, Albon, we had all those guys there. Ocon, 13 points. Sainz with 14 points. Like, he's 3.3 cheaper than Albon right now, but if I think that Albon can get 18 points, should I be thinking that maybe Sainz can get 14? Tough to tell. We'll have to see how that goes in the practices for Imola. But look at this, like Bortoleto, Alonso, Gasly, Doohan, Behrman, Lawson, Tsunoda. These are all options that were looking quite nice there. Maybe not Tsunoda, but they were looking quite nice in Miami for a price rise and setting up teams for Limitless. And that's just a no-go. I think all of these assets are going to fall. Alonso, at this point, he's going to bottom out. He's going to be the next driver to bottom out. Maybe, yeah, he'll be the next driver to bottom out now that I'm looking at it. Tsunoda could become an option again here. Maybe he'll start to rise once this negative 17 pops off from his Saudi Arabia crash with Pierre Gasly. Like 33 points in the sprint at 15.2 million. That's going to give him a pretty big boost. So we may have to think about bringing Tsunoda in at some point soon, but maybe that'll be for the next race in Monaco. And yeah, it's just going to be tough. That's why the bottom of the barrel stuff that I was talking about that's like budget preservation. As you can see at the top of the screen there, like I gained 0.2 in budget this weekend because things went horribly wrong for my squad in Miami. And yeah, so budget preservation, Doohan, Colapinto, and then Bortoleto there, like those guys can't fall. They're not scoring anywhere close to getting a price rise in Imola, barring something insane happening. But yeah, the aim of the game right now is budget preservation. And as we go over here to my team selection, it's a little bit rough. So these are my 3 teams, but we'll focus here on the T1 squad because that's the one that is in the global league and stuff like that. The T2 squad is actually in the top like 10,000 now. So like I played the Limitless chip there. It was a great use of it. So kind of, I'll get into more of the whole Miami debacle at the end, but pretty much what happened was I was on a plane during the deadline. So I only used 2 free transfers. I put in a Lawson and Bortoleto instead of Ocon and Doohan, brought those guys out. Had a great chat with Leapsfrog and a bunch of other fantastically smart minds in the F1 Fantasy Tools Discord while I was waiting for the plane, and kind of talked it over, and that was just the best option for me as we headed into the deadline. But my flight was like 6 hours before the deadline, so and it was a transatlantic flight. So yeah, wasn't able to be there for the deadline. But let's see what we're going to do for Imola here. How are we going to fix this squad? So Bortoleto can't fall. That's fine. Behrman, if we go over here, he is likely to fall. He needs 23 points for a 0.2 price rise. Love Ollie Behrman, but I don't think that's going to happen. Hajar fell 0.2. He can probably stay. But the nice thing is I only used 2 free transfers at the deadline for Miami, so I do have 3 free transfers right now. With Lawson and Behrman and possibly Hajar all set to fall, I think Limitless is off the table for me again, which is starting to get really frustrating how much effort I need to put in to get this chip done and dusted, because right now I'm missing out on, like, it's going to kind of affect other transfers going into the rest of the season. So let me know in the comments below if you are one of the ones that played Limitless in Miami and it went sparkling well, or if you are also as frustrated as I am about what is happening to our F1 fantasy squads. But with 3 free transfers, there are options. So like Lawson and Behrman could come out, right? And we could just keep rolling a 3rd free transfer. We got Doohan, and then I can bring in, like, I mean, just trying to think here, like who's the next, like Lance Stroll, right? Like that would be fine. That becomes Franco Colapinto right there on the screen, right? So then I've got Hajar who could rise, McLaren, Mercedes, it's all good. So I don't feel too bad about those options there. However, with 3 free transfers, there's a little bit of a spicier option on the table. And if we go back here, I didn't go over to the constructors at all. But look at the boys in green here. Kick Sauber. They need -2 points to go up. They can't go down. That's pretty tempting. Williams is also another option here for a 0.6 price rise. So another thing could be, where was I here? Let me just refresh the screen. So Lawson, Behrman, Bortoleto. If things are looking interesting, I can go double McLaren with the Kick Sauber team, and that leaves me, actually I can't even see how much that leaves, 7.8 million for my last driver spot. That makes things a little bit tougher, but as you can see here, move back up, Nico Hulkenberg, 5 points. Ugh, that's kind of tempting, but then I can just bring in Jack Doohan and it doesn't do anything either. And then this is kind of like bottom of the barrel. Maybe Hajar goes up, but Piastri, Lando supposed to go up. McLaren will go up, of course. Sauber there as well. If we go over here to where the constructor is, like that's as high as I can go. There's another option, I guess, where we could be looking at, like, I bring in a Russell, but he maybe only goes up like 0.1. And then I can bring in Williams as well, which is also tempting because that's kind of like a pretty well-rounded point scoring squad. So my head is a little bit all over the place right now. Like I said, there's a week and a half to go. If you follow me on X at F1 Fantasy U, and you've kind of been seeing that I've been tilting a little bit over the last couple of days. But let me know in the comments, like, what did you think about that? Like the Kick Sauber build with Lando, or maybe the Williams build here with Russell? Like, which one do you guys prefer? I think this is probably like a better point scoring balanced squad, but you never know. Oscar and Lando in the same squad, just triple McLaren for a little bit here. Maybe that sets me up quite safely for a Limitless in Monaco or something like that. I mean, the Limitless chip, I'm going to have to take a couple of days to honestly think about where I'm going with that, because it's causing a lot more headaches than I would have liked. But yeah, this is where the T1 squad is. T2 squad is looking fine. I mean, I played Limitless, so coming out the other side with like some budget increase. I mean, only Hajar went down. The T3 squad is also okay with 2 free transfers. The plan was to kind of play Limitless there as well, but it's probably not going to happen either. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with the F1 fantasy squads here. I'll come out with another episode on Monday, like transfer targets, and we'll go over more team selection, followed by a Q&A stream on the Wednesday, and then there will be a live stream next week for the deadline. So yeah, that's kind of where my team selection thoughts are at. Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys would do with my teams because I'm a little bit all over the place, and y'all have been fantastic community to kind of just chit chat with, bounce ideas off of X, Blue Sky, TikTok, even in the YouTube comments. It's like so much intelligent conversation that I really appreciate. So like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let me know what you guys are thinking. So if you made it this far, you probably know that the Miami Grand Prix did not go according to plan. I was unable to play my no negative chip because I was on a flight over from Germany to the States. And yeah, it did not go well. I survived Saturday and I was feeling pretty good about it. And then Sunday happened where I caught 4 DNFs. So that's the second time this season my T1 squad has caught 4 DNFs in one race. But I guess bright side is I still have no negative for the next weird and wacky weather event that the 2025 F1 fantasy season throws at us. But shout out to everyone that was on the ball. They played the no negative chip. The limitless managers, they kind of came back to it on Sunday. A huge delta over my T1 squad. So I know a lot of people played no negative, and the delta to the limitless squad was maybe like 70 points. But I think my T2 squad scored like 150 more points than my T1 squad that didn't have a chip activated. The T2 squad had the limitless chip activated there. So yeah, a little bit of a brutal Sunday, but 25% of the season gone, 75% of the season to go. So I'm hoping that I've used up all my bad luck in F1 Fantasy for the entire season, and the last 3 quarters of the season are flying. I came out of it with a green arrow, so there's not too much to complain about, obviously, but let me know in the comments below how you guys did. Did you use no negative? Did you use limitless? Did you not? Are you suffering? Are you in the same boat as me? Are you laughing at me? But it's all good. We got 75% of the season go. There's a triple header. A lot can change between now and the end of the season. So the dream for that top 1K finish is still well and truly on with the T1 squad. It's getting a little bit more difficult every time that a DNF or some bad luck comes my way, but it is what it is. I appreciate you guys sticking around. I know it hasn't been as technically sound of an episode as it usually is on F1 Fantasy pole position, so hopefully it sounds okay. I think it's been looking okay, just not as tip top as it usually is. But I'll be back next week with some more content, some transfer targets, some Q&A streams, a deadline live stream, all that fun stuff. But don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because as of this right now, still at 2,999. So hopefully by the time it's posted or you're watching this, we're over 3K. So thank you so much for all the support you guys have given me throughout this season. And yeah, that will do it. I will be back next week. So once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.